In today's episode, we're going to be talking about starting something new. Maybe you want to start a new career or start a new job or go back to school, whatever it is. The most common question that I get is, where do I start? So we're going to talk about the three most important questions that I think you should ask yourself whenever you're starting something new. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Bears and Lions podcast. My name is Kyle Vaught, and this is the podcast where we challenge your present by viewing your past. I believe that if we correctly look at our past, we're going to find out that we are way stronger than we could even possibly imagine, and we are way more prepared, and we are ready in every single step that we have taken prior. We're ready to step into our future, because the biggest fear is the unknown, right? Like we're afraid of the unknown. But as you look at all the things that you've done before, you have this irrefutable evidence that you are actually stronger and you are ready to step into your future. And you're not afraid of the unknown as much when you know, well, I handled this, and this. I'm going to be able to handle whatever is in the unknown. I'm sure it's going to be a challenge. I'm not saying it's not going to be a challenge. And it may drive you to a new level of stress and anxiety, but you can do it. And so if you would join me, we're going to step into our future today. And we're going to talk about, where do I start? Actually, this morning I was talking to one of my friends, and we were just talking about starting things. And she mentioned that she's starting with some baby steps, and I really loved that. I was like, yes, that's awesome. Let's go. Baby steps will eventually turn into the big toddler that's able to run, and they learn how to run, and then they continue to grow, right? That's why it's called baby steps. But I couldn't shake this thought of, where do I start? All day long I was thinking about, where do I start? What is the process of starting, and how do I do it consistently across the board? And I really did boil it down to these three questions. So where do I start? When the three questions, right, that you are asking yourself whenever you're starting. Maybe you want just more time in the day, and you're like, I want to read more books, so I want to organize my life, so I want to start something new and change my life around. I want to wake up a little bit earlier so I can do this. Maybe you want to go to the gym. Maybe you want to start a new career. Maybe you want to go back to school. Whatever it is, maybe you just simply want to buy something. And so where do I start? Maybe you're in debt, like somebody like me, and you just, where do I start? What do I do first? And so I boiled it down here, the questions, and just in this order. I want you to, wherever you are, I want you to make some mental notes of this. All right. I want you to make some mental notes, whether you're getting ready for work or listening in the car or whatever you're doing right now. Just make some mental notes of these questions. All right. Where do I start? Three questions to ask yourself when starting something new. Question number one: what do you want? Whether it's health or wealth or a career or something tangible like that, do you really want it, or do you just like the idea of it? Second question is, what does it cost? Everything has a currency. Everything will have a price to pay. And what is the currency of whatever you want? Maybe it is monetary money that you have to shell out. Maybe it's something different. Maybe it's sacrificing entertainment time. Maybe it's sacrificing time with friends. Maybe it's sacrificing that extra hour that you do watch Netflix, or that you do relax, and it is beneficial to you. But in order to get what you want, you're going to have to give it up. And question number three: can you afford it? Right now, can you afford it? And I think that's a big question to ask yourself, is, can I afford this? So we're going to talk about these steps throughout this podcast, but we'll start off with just, what do you want? And as I thought about this question of, where do I start, all day long, I really boiled down to, what do I want? What is it actually that I want? And I came to the conclusion that there are a few things that I genuinely just I say I want. It would be nice to have, but I more like the idea of them. It's not that I necessarily want them, if that makes sense. So there are things, and I'll just give you a tangible example for myself. I personally would really like a house. I would really like to buy a house. And that's a desire, but it is a desire that is not currently in the forefront of my mind. It's not something where I'm saying, this is what I want right now, and I'm going to put all of my effort into it. No, it's something I like the idea of it, but it's not where my mind is at. And it's definitely not something that I can afford, because I've asked, what does it cost to own a house? Not only just buying a house, not only having the monthly mortgage, but also you've got home insurance, you've got all the other insurance that goes along with it. You've got property taxes, you've got, if a roof leaks, you've got hot water heaters, etc. You need to buy fridges, you need to buy, all the things you need for a house. Can I afford it? That's the question that I really realized, that I like the idea of it, but I'm not at a place right now in my life to just go out and buy a house, because I cannot afford that. So that's a tangible question and a tangible way of going through all of these questions of what do you want, what does it cost, and can you afford it? So as we kind of discuss this, and something I just wanted to bring to your forefront of your mind is, I want you to ask yourself, what is it that you actually want? What do you wake up and think about? What do you go to bed and think about? What keeps you up at night, I should say, instead of going to bed and thinking about it? What keeps you up at night? What do you think about when you're on break at work? What do you think about in between your classes? What do you think about when you're just relaxing? What is the thing in the back of your mind that says, this is something that is in your brain? This is something that's in your soul. You should do this. Maybe it's writing a book. Maybe it's starting a podcast like it was for me. Whatever it might be, you need to really ask yourself, do you really want this? Or do you just like the idea of it? And a big one that I often have asked myself, it comes with relationships. Yeah, I would love a relationship, but do I really want a relationship, or do I just like the idea of not being lonely? So those are genuinely, they're difficult questions. I'm not saying that this is going to be easy for you just to shell through and say, yeah, here we go. But the hard questions come when you start asking, is this something that I actually want? Do I really want to become a doctor? Do I really want to become a singer? Do I really want to become a business person? Do I really want to go to school? Do I really want to learn this? Well, what does it cost? Do I really want to lose weight? I think right now is one of the most exciting things I've ever seen. Is normally the gyms have completely dried up by midsummer. You've got your January, February, March, April, I'm setting this New Year's resolution and I'm going to reach it. But it's crazy. This year, it's almost as if there's just this movement of get healthy, get in the gym, get active. And our gyms where I'm at are packed. And it's exciting. I switched my schedule around because I want to go to the gym. That's something that I want. I switched my schedule around so I could go early in the morning when it's less crowded. But I say less crowded, it's still crowded. Even when I go at 5:36 in the morning, it's still crowded. It's awesome. Like, I could not be more excited about all the people who are they are there. They're showing up. And it's really exciting. But that's something that you have to begin to ask yourself. What is it going to cost you in this process of your decision? Whatever it might be that you want, what does it cost you? Because the reality is if you knew how much it costs, then you could figure out a way to save up. So maybe it's like one of those things. I don't know if you ever remember layaway or even just debt payments, because that's basically what it was. But layaway, you didn't get it until you fully paid it off. And you would just pay little bits at a time. Imagine if it was something like that where you could say, okay, this is what you want, but you have to pay 5 times a week. You have to pay 30 minutes of your life 5 times a week. Are you willing to do this? It's genuine. You just have to find that currency of what am I actually giving? What am I actually doing? What am I actually paying? And can I afford this? So maybe it is gym stuff where you're just trying to figure out the times and stuff. It doesn't have to be a lot. One step forward, starting is usually the hard part. But if you get past the what do you want, what does it cost, and can I afford it? And you get to a point where you're like, all right, now I'm thinking about, can I afford it? And I think I can. Let's orchestrate and organize to get to a point where we can actually do this. Because I think a lot of people, they are always looking for whatever it might be. I think a lot of people want things of value, but they want it cheap. And it's not going to come cheap. Nothing of value like this is going to come cheap. If you want to be a doctor and make hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're going to school for 10 to 15 years in college and beyond. You're constantly learning. Doctors don't just like go to school once and then that's it either. They constantly have to keep up with everything, so they have constant reviews. If you want to be a business owner, you can't just simply say, all right, I'm going to start a business. I got $5 in my pocket. I mean, you can do that. And in fact, some people have, but they know, okay, if I'm going to start a business, I'm going to put everything I have into it, and it's going to take time. This is what it's going to cost me, and I'm just going to do it. And then they lay it out and they do it. But you can't expect it to be quick. And you can't expect it to be simple, because everything in life will have some form of a complete wrench thrown into your direction. It'll be something from left field that you just won't see coming. Whether it's an illness or a car breaks down or extra expenses that you didn't think about. I mean, we've all watched the HGTV shows, right? They're like, yeah, we wanted to redo our bathroom. The Weekend Warriors or whatever. They're like, yeah, we were going to do it. It's on day 72 now. Our budget was $15,000. We've spent $45,000. It's like, what? Because there's just so many things that are unknown. But when you can start naming that stuff before, it allows you to make a cognitive decision. This is what I want. And when the tough times come, I will be ready to face them because I've already named it. And that brings us to kind of the conclusion of today's episode, is that when you're starting, whatever it might be, ask yourself these 3 questions. What do you want? What does it cost? And can you afford it? If you really want something, then you should be able to recognize that it's going to cost you, and here are all the things that could go wrong or could happen and get in your way. These are a lot of obstacles that are going to get in your way, and you should be able to name those so that as you start, those are going to come. Yep, I knew that was going to happen. We're just going to keep going. I got sick. That's fine. I missed 2 days. We're back into the gym. There's tough times. I have to slow down a little bit, but we're going to get right back on that horse and we're going to keep going. I think it's important to figure out those things and make a plan exactly how you want to face it, whatever it is that you want. And there's thousands and thousands and thousands of things that probably go through your mind every single day that you want. And you don't even realize how many questions that you're answering just mentally throughout the day. I want a burger. I want to eat this. I would really like candy. I want a coffee. All those are questions that your brain just instantaneously answers. So you have to train your brain to instantaneously answer towards what you actually want. So if it is a career, you become obsessed with being able to plan it out and figuring out your career path. If it's school, you become obsessed with recognizing, yes, I can do this, and this is how I'm going to do it. I know so many people who went through school in like 3 or 4 years rather than 6 or 7 years. I know other people that went in 2 years. They got a 4-year degree in 2 years. It's the It's the delayed gratification of recognizing that there are momentary sacrifices that need to be made. And if you are capable of doing those momentary and the short amount of sacrifices in a short period of time for a long-term gain, it is so much more beneficial. Because as you sacrifice at the early stages, it creates the mentality and the discipline, which we're going to talk more about discipline in the future episodes. But it's just something that I really thought about all day long, is where do I actually start and what do I actually want? Because I found out today there are some things that I actually really do want, and I'm willing to put the time in and put in some effort to get there. And that's something that's really exciting, is as we go through life, these may change. There may be times that what you thought you wanted, it's no longer what you want. And that's okay. Some dreams are not meant to be reached. Some dreams I've gone throughout my life and I have literally been like, oh, I really want to do this. And then I go and do it. And I'm like, actually, I don't think I really want to do this. I just like the idea of it. But I learned a really valuable lesson here. And it helps build you and create that resume of life, which allows you to step into the future. That's what we are all about, is as you do these things, if you know this is really what I want and you chase after it for a while and you realize, nah, I like the idea of it, don't be like, I wasted my time. No, you don't waste your time. You build your resume. So when you find the things that you actually want to do, you can say, yeah, I know I'm going to put my heart and soul into it, because I put my heart and soul into everything. You just master everything in your path, and you're going to find out success is right around the corner. It may not take as long as you think. It may take longer than you think. But I guarantee that you're stronger than you know, and you are more prepared to do this. So whatever you want, name it. What does it cost? And figure out a way to afford it. That's going to do it for this episode. I hope that you will all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Remember to give grace, show love, and stay stellar. Peace.